Today, I will be discussing should you or should you not start a new social media account because yours is not growing. Posting consistently on social media and not getting results can be extremely frustrating. It can also be extremely liberating and just amazing and lucrative when you do it right. But the question is, should you or should you not start a new social media account? So let's dive into all the reasons why you should and why you shouldn't. So the short answer is yes and no. It really depends on why you want to start a new account and why your account isn't growing. So let's talk about all the reasons why you should start a new account versus all the reasons why you should not. I want to start with the reasons why you should, because chances are if you're watching this video, you're thinking that you should start an account. So let's just jump right into these 3 reasons. Reason number 1 why you should start a new account is if you currently have a page that isn't growing and you've been posting consistently on that page, let's say for months, maybe even years, but your topics haven't been consistent, you might consider starting a new account. Let me give you an example of what I'm speaking of so that you don't get confused here. Let's say that you're a wellness coach, because you guys know I love talking about wellness, and you post health recipes and just tips about being healthy in your wellness. But you're also posting content about fashion, maybe your personal life, and travel blogging. Well, 3 things have happened while you've been trying to grow this account that have kept you from growing. The first thing is the algorithm does not know who your audience is because it's not understanding your search engine optimization because you're not targeting one specific niche. So the algorithm is confused and it's not pushing your content out, in which case your audience is not receiving it. The second reason why this is happening is because your audience, the people that have found you, don't really understand what your niche is and what your page is about because you have too many different topics happening simultaneously, and they are unable to connect the dots when they're scrolling through your page. And the third reason why you're not growing is because neither the algorithm or your audience trust your content because it's too vague. It may also not be great content that's valuable to them, but more than likely chances are that it's too vague because you've spread it too thin. It's too broad. In this case, I would absolutely start a new account or merge this account accordingly. However, I wouldn't abandon your account altogether if you do decide to start a new account. I would separate the content that's applying to the niche that you're trying to grow. Whatever your business goals are about, wherever your business is, I would focus on building that page and separating the other content on a secondary page. It's wonderful if you're a personal brand to share valuable information about yourself and even be vulnerable and share as much as you can, but in order for your audience to receive that vulnerability and really have any interest in knowing about you, they need to trust you first. And if you've been posting all kinds of stuff and you have diluted your business and you haven't built trust, then now is not the time to be sharing too much. So if this sounds like you, I would keep your current account, but narrow it down to one niche, such as wellness, on that page, and try to expand on wellness and grow that specific page. Now, if you do want to start a second page, as I just mentioned, you can target those other niches that you like that you're discussing on this page, but do it on a secondary page and kind of connect the dots between them. So if one of your hobbies is travel blogging, maybe you can talk about traveling. And then if you like fashion as well, you can talk about the things that you pack for travel, what you wear in certain locations, and just keep everything in one specific niche. Make sure that everything applies to your topic, your focused topic, and that you have subtopics that you're speaking to under that one topic. This is what's going to help the algorithm as well as your target audience find you and trust you so that you can grow and expand your business. Now, it is always best to stay within one niche until you prove your authority, as we talked about, because this is how people are able to gain loyalty with their audience. And then once their audience becomes hooked, they can expand on that and kind of talk more about other things. The second reason why you should start a new account is if you've ever bought followers, or maybe you joined an engagement pod, or maybe you've just never posted quality content, so you haven't attracted the right people. If you fall into any of those categories, chances are the algorithm doesn't like you because it knows that what you're doing is wrong. And at this point, you probably do need to do a rebrand to gain trust with not only the algorithm, but the followers that you have, because they're probably fake followers if you paid for followers. And they're not going to miss the content that you're sharing if you abandon that page. So I would absolutely start over and start fresh and do it honestly and do it authentically. I would start a new account once you know exactly what your business is. So you know your niche, you know the problem that you solve, you know the audience that you serve that to, and you have a solid content marketing strategy with quality content. Don't just switch accounts and put up the same content that you've been sharing that wasn't performing well because you have a new page, because creating a new page with the same content isn't going to perform any differently. Bad twice doesn't equal good, you guys. Now, the third reason why I would consider starting a new account is if you're expanding your business, you might want to start a secondary page. When I say expanding your business, I mean, let's say you're launching a physical product, or maybe a podcast, or maybe you have a brick and mortar or a nonprofit, any kind of charity. If you have a business that stands alone and it really doesn't kind of fit under one umbrella where it all makes sense on one page, then you might want to market them separately. However, if you have a strong personal brand and you're able to market everything together, for instance, a content creator who sells digital courses, they don't necessarily need a separate platform to market those courses because they've already built an established audience who trusts them and is going to buy whatever they're sharing. So you really need to know when you have the right reason to start a separate account, because having a separate account is additional work. It doesn't become any easier growing something for the second time. So be mindful when you're growing your business and when you're separating the two accounts. And always keep in mind, if you do have two accounts, you can tag between the two accounts. You can be a collaborator on one account and tag the accounts when necessary so that you're cross-promoting with your own brand or two different brands that you have, or a personal brand and a product-based business brand. Just as we mentioned, just remember that the amount of work on two pages is a lot. So it's best not to abandon an account just to start over because you aren't growing. You really need to dissect the reason why you want to start over and abandon that account for the right reason and stick to that, or separate those accounts and build those out, especially if you're already spending the time creating all that content. Just do your due diligence and see why you actually are considering starting over, because you can always rebrand or archive posts and start again. And again, a new account does not equal more followers. The content that you are serving to your audience does. Okay, now let's jump into my 3 reasons why you do not need to create a new account. These are the reasons why I think you should stick with the account you currently have and build on that. Now, reason 1 is because you don't see results. Don't just abandon your account because you don't see anything happening. What you need to do in this case is study your analytics and compare what's performing well to what's not performing well. Most of the time, you're not growing because you might be sharing what you want to share and making content for yourself. You're not actually serving your audience and helping people get the results that they want, or you're not sharing the content they want to see, in which case the algorithm's not pushing it because people are not liking it. And it's not because it's bad content. It just means that it's not resonating with your audience. And it can be very scary when you start losing a lot of followers because you decide to shift your content or, grow your content in a different capacity. But also what happens is something more beautiful is you start attracting your community, your tribe, the right followers. And eventually you start growing faster and you actually have a brand that's sustainable and a business that you're proud of. Now, in this case, I would get very clear about what your audience wants to see and not just share what you want to post. So the more clear you are and the more specific you serve your audience through the analytics of what they want to see, the faster you're going to grow. The second reason is you don't like your aesthetic. A lot of people want this very beautiful, cohesive aesthetic, or trends change and people want a refresh, a rebrand, or an expansion. You can do all of that on one account without ever abandoning it. You don't need to necessarily start over to do a rebrand. In fact, you don't need a new handle or a new logo or even a new audience. You really just need to shift your brand. Brands grow all the time. Brands change their logos, they change their content that they're sharing, they expand, they grow. And you can do that as well and just start to slowly archive content that doesn't align with your brand and build out what does. And if you want to let your audience know what you're doing, you can, but you don't even have to let them know. You can just build this out as you go. Once you build your vision for your brand, you will attract your tribe, I promise. But it's going to take the same amount of time if you start from scratch and rebuild, or if you start right where you are and tweak what's not working and try to build on what is. My third reason is you don't like the audience you're attracting. A lot of times we post just to post, to be consistent. And then we notice that maybe we're not attracting our dream clients or getting the followers that we want. Maybe we don't have the engagement that we want. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have the wrong audience. It just means that you need to clean up your post and create different content that attracts the people that you want to see, liking and commenting and engaging on all of your stuff. There is, again, a chance you will lose followers. That's what happens when you shift anything, whether it's your content, whether it's your page, whether it's your logo, a rebrand, whether it's your core values, your voice, anything. Because people resonate with different things. And as we grow, our interests change too. So to attract the right followers that are loyal to you, who are interested in your offering, you need to be authentic and be true to yourself and stick with what works for you by building a community of serving your audience. So again, by building a community, you're going to feel your true self. And this is going to happen through your values. And it's going to happen very quickly when you start to be honest with yourself about what is working well in your business, what is performing well. A lot of times we don't want to be patient with our process. We don't want to fix the things that aren't working. And it's not because we don't want to do it. It's because it's fearful starting over. It's a lot of work. And we think, well, this is working because it's kind of getting me these minimal results, but it's not, because you're not growing, you're not seeing change, you're not expanding, and you're not happy because you're here watching this video considering if you should or should not start over with your content marketing strategy and building your brand. And only you intuitively know what is right for you. But when you get very clear about exactly who your brand is and who you serve and what that looks like, and you find out exactly how to serve that to the person who wants it and get them addicted, interested, attached to your stuff, where they want more and more and more, you will start to see expansion and growth within your business. Whether you keep the platform that you have now and you expand on that, or you tweak it, or you start over and abandon that one altogether, or if you separate your content and build out 2 platforms. However, from a business perspective, you do have to think strategy, and you do have to think algorithm, and you do have to think search engine optimization and how things can be found. So you can't get too cutesy and trendy on those things. Those things really have to come from a strong foundation to be successful. Those are all the tips that I have for you. I hope this video helped inspire you, whether you should start a new social media account today or keep the one that you have and find a way to tweak it so that it works for you. Again, no one strategy is right for everybody. It really is what works best for you. Just be honest with yourself and identify what's not working and make changes to that. And keep in mind, as I mentioned several times, starting over doesn't mean it's going to happen any faster or better. You still have to build the same community, the same level of trust before you're going to get the results that you want. So thank you so much for tuning into this video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much.